7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, it's quite a start. Howdy, everybody. How do? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the RP Show. Oh, man, I got great news. I got breaking news. Got a very special friend coming up today as well. They're all my special friends, as you know, but John Bender joining us in hour 2. CFL fans know him. The Nevada Wolfpack fans know him. He's in their Hall of Fame. John Bender joining us in hour 2 to talk some NFL, some CFL, some college if it tickles our fancy. Welcome indoors to the Golden Ticket Sports Center. By the way, here is your breaking news. The big story, I lost my keys, and it was very disconcerting. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like, how am I going to go to the air when I'm worried about where my keys are? I was searching all over the grounds, put out an APB, and I found them. So, yeah, I'm in a good mood. Found the keys. You know that. I'm like, I'm not that absent-minded anymore. Oh, my God. But I found them. So, on to other things. Point 1, because it is the Canadian Hour, I'm going to welcome you all to get comfortable, fill up your coffee, grab your phones or whatever device you use if you can safely do so, and you're watching on the live audience on YouTube, on the RP Show channel, the Game Plus streaming channel, or WQVZ radio. Let's get it going. 902-518-3033. Because it's a Wednesday and we're not breaking with that tradition, Scruffy is away at the lake. He picks the 2 coldest days of the summer to go. Just is what it is. So it's me solo in hour 1, and as I say, John Bender coming in hour 2. And because this is the Wednesday, it's Canada's Game of the Week, and we're going to open with the CFL and Canada's Game of the Week poll. We do it every Wednesday. The big story. More than anything, I could say what's yours, but Blue Jays suck. I'm looking at the schedule. My big story, I'm not going to lie, is our baseball team, the Moose Jaw Miller Express. If I get talking about them too much, I will have a tear in my eye. I will just tell you that Rod Monroe has written in. He's the father of our former producer, Clark Monroe. And he says, hey, Rod, congratulations to the Moose Jaw Miller Express on their outstanding season to date. Great to see the team having so much success. Looks like a close-knit group. Well done. Rod and the Monroe family used to live here in Moose Jaw, so they understand the closest. At the end of the game last night, our 41st win, the guys locked arms and made a chain and sang Wonderwall to the crowd on our last home game of the year. It's on my social media channels, at Rod Pedersen Official. I tear up when I see it. One more game left tonight at Saskatoon. I'll be talking more about the Millers later, but you're going to want to buy a ticket to see this bunch. They're a history-making bunch. I love every single one of them, and the story is just unbelievable. Virginia Eric checking in. He says, good morning, y'all. Virginia Eric checking in. Cannon, Mississauga writes in and he says, hey, you have an XFL shirt. I do, and there's a story behind this shirt. When XFL 2.0 came back, whatever year it was, 2020, 2021? I can't remember. I was in talks with them about being the lead play-by-play voice of the XFL. And they sent me a bunch of gear. If you don't have to look too far to find photos of it, but because of immigration and visa and all that, I couldn't work in the States at that time. And that's kind of where the plan was sort of hatched. It was right after my time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but I kept the gear because I like it. Who doesn't love red, white, and blue? Anyways, we're a little all over the place here in the opening segment of the warm-up, brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, but that's okay. the preferred travel partner of the RP show, and the BC Lions. The one thing I want to get off my chest as it pertains to the Canadian Football League is I saw this quote from Ryan Dinwiddie, my good friend, head coach and general manager of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Like, it's a little like what I've been saying about Mark Killam and Ed Hervey in Edmonton. Dinner will turn it around. It's just not as fast as everybody would like in Ottawa. Just like those two have turned it around in Edmonton, it's going to take a while. Dinwiddie, well, no, I was going to say he's got more fire than Mark Killam, the Edmonton coach, but I don't think that's true. They both got more fire than they need. But anyways, Dinwiddie comes out yesterday and says that it just wasn't a good fit. Eugene Lewis, the top receiver, wasn't he the MVP of the league a few years ago? Eugene Lewis wasn't a good fit for Ottawa. And if I was Eugene Lewis, I would say, thank you. Good. You're 0-7. I don't want to fit in with you. That's what I would say if I was Eugene Lewis. But listen, I'm just one man playing my little piano, singing my little songs. I'm not going to change the way this whole industry works. Unfortunately, I can't. But it happens everywhere. Crappy team says goodbye to an aging star veteran, and they point the finger at him and light him on fire and say he's the problem. And by the way, we've watched Ottawa's games, right? They got way bigger problems than Eugene Lewis. But they're firing coaches. They're doing this, bringing back aging veteran kickers. David Benefield, whose name's going to come up a little later on here in the warm-up in very entertaining fashion. There is a reason why when you bring on the former players and the coaches, there's a reason why. Or a guy like me that's been around and knows how things work. It's better than just sitting listening to fans. You understand there is a difference. And I learn as we go. Like Benefield says, as you're sitting there, he played for the 49ers, and we had him on during the playoffs last year. And he goes, when you get into a game and things are starting to go wrong, maybe you game plan wrong, maybe they're doing something on the other side of the ball that you just weren't prepared for, you can't stop it in the middle of the game. And a season is like a game. The BC Lions scrambling, bringing back Lorenzo Malden IV. Now, they may have saved their season, but you don't plan on going down to your QB3. You don't plan on these erratic and firing a coach like Corey McDermott, the special teams coach. But look, BC's getting it together. Ottawa, will they get it together remains to be seen, but they're coming into Saskatchewan Friday night, which, by the way, the Game of the Week poll, we do it every Wednesday. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. All the games are good. And the reason I couldn't find my keys was I'm like, dang, nabbit. I keep forgetting my little CFL mini helmets in my vehicle. So I'm like, I'm going to get them for today's show. Run out there. Where's my keys? That used to happen 5 times a day. It hasn't happened in years. So that's why I was a little unnerved. But I wanted to hold up the Calgary helmet, the Toronto helmet, and the Edmonton. I don't have a Montreal helmet, but I have the Hamilton and BC helmet. The game of the week is Edmonton at Montreal. And as much as God bless fake Gainer, vintage Sasko, he faxed in picks on Scruffy's behalf. Scruffy has sent his in from the cold, chilly lake today, the shores of Lake Kitepwa. Scruffy has sent his picks in, and they don't match what fake Gainer sent in, and they don't match mine. We got a little bit of rub here. But what I can tell you is Scruffy's taken all the home teams in Week 10 of the Canadian Football League. So we'll get a little more into the games when we come back. NFL training camps, a very fun NFL item that I've got that you will have fun with. Brock Lesnar's retired. I was 10 years old when I found out that Brock Lesnar announced his retirement yesterday. I got some Brock Lesnar stories for you because he lives here in the rectangle. We'll be right back. It's the warm-up on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel
Is an alcoholic.
families and friends are suffering too?
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I told you all we were going to have fun today, and we already are. And we still got plenty of time, 49 minutes in this hour, and then John Bender coming up in hour two, when we will get to a little more serious football talk. Not that this isn't serious, but number one, I lost my keys to start the show. I was having a little bit of a panic. BW writes in, he says, "Morning, RB squad. I misplaced my keys so much I had to purchase an air tag and put it on my key ring. Now I just follow the jingle to where my keys are." That makes far too much sense. Like I say, I haven't done it in years, and I'm sitting there going, I wasn't on the phone. I wasn't texting anybody. I was totally with it. I unlocked the golden tickets. I have the key to it. Where the hell did I put it? Anyways, I found them, so we're good. It actually wasn't 2023 when the XFL, this was 2020, and if you all remember, thank you, Virginia Eric, it was 2023 when the XFL came back. This was the 2020 season because I was like, no, I was still living in Sask. Former house. I got this shipment of really great XFL stuff, a football, a downfield coat, a shirt, and I actually looked it up here. 2001 was the initial XFL league, which was amazing. 2020 reboot. This is on the internet, so it has to be true. Revived by Vince McMahon's Alpha Entertainment, it suspended operations and filed for bankruptcy 5 weeks into its first season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the whole everything happens for a reason thing. If you look back, you'll find out that it does. And then 2023 Revival, purchased out of bankruptcy by The Rock and Redbird Capital, playing a full spring season in 2023. Mark Trestman was the coach of the Tampa Bay Vipers, and that was the link. I was like, Tress, get me in there. And he's like, oh, I can't do it, but I'll get you in with the guys that can. So it was all going to happen. And then they didn't have the proper – and you don't screw around with working in the States when you are not legally allowed to work. You shouldn't. Anyways, Canada Mississauga writes that he says, looking at their next few games, when exactly might the Red Blacks win one? I don't know. All the football people are saying they will win one eventually. And I'll tell you a little story. You longtime CFLers will remember this. You Southern Ontario CFL fans. You'll have to remind me of the year. I want to say 03. Hamilton was on the way to losing every game of the year. As a matter of fact, I think they were 0-17. Who do they beat? Us. And I'm calling the game. Paula's Baldiston won the game on I want to say a last-second field goal or in overtime at Ivor Wynn Stadium. And I will never forget, we turned the ball. We fumbled on offense with like a minute to go, and Andrew Green, our star guard, comes up with this fumble and decides he's going to try and score a touchdown. And he fumbles the ball. Ticats take over. We're on the way to winning. And they turn around, come back the other way, and kick a field goal to win. And they went 1-17 that year. Look it up. Because I don't think there's ever been a year that a team went winless in the Canadian Football League. That's my whole point. They will win one game. But after the game, if you know Andrew Green, well, he wasn't laughing that night because Karis, was always around the players. We're on the bus, and the guys were getting up at Andrew Green's face. Number 68 should probably be in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. He's one of the best linemen this league's ever seen. Played with the Dolphins and Marino and all that. And the guys were basically, why would you not go down on the ball? Why would you try and score a touchdown? You're a damn offensive guard. He's like, hey, if the ball's in my hands, we got a problem. Anyways, we went on to lose that game. We finished 11-7 in first place, if that was indeed 2003. Oh, my God. Jason looks it up. Thank you. He says, yep, 2003, Rod. I got a good memory when I need it, except for when I need to find my keys. My God, how do I remember every detail of a game in 2003 and I can't find my keys? I've hit the golden years early. By the way, 902-518-3033 is the text line. Got a few here. Bob writes, he says, good morning, Rod. Bob from the Hat. Congratulations on the Millers' success. Have a great day, my friend. That's Bob in Medicine Hat. So listen, when I tell you the Moose Jaw Miller Express are big news, like I don't know where people are getting their information because they're not buying a newspaper anymore. I'm sorry to tell you. Mind you, having said that, here in Moose Jaw, they do read the Moose Jaw Express. I think I won't tell you any more about that, but it's getting to be big news. 41 wins, and the guys serenading the crowd last night. And when I say that I'm going to tear up, I wanted to explain something that I said near the end of yesterday's show, and maybe a lot of you weren't watching then. And this ties in with you, Wayne, in BC, where you said you don't watch the preseason games. That's totally fine. It's all up to everybody. But you watch whatever you want to watch. You know, the Hall of Fame game in the NFL in Canton is Thursday night. I'll be watching as much as I can the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. When you start in the infancy, the birth, like our team barbecue, when the team president, Daryl Pichot, stood on his deck and looked across all the players and all the sponsors and the billets and said, and all the staff, he goes, welcome to Moose Jaw. We have a tradition here, and that is we win. And he stopped and he looked everybody in the eye as he went across the room. And I'm just like, you don't need to tell me because I know what that means. It means we win. It means show up at the ballpark every day, ready to play, be prepared, help us win. If you're not helping us win, you're not going to play, and you're probably going to be shipped out of town, and don't blame us. And having said that, as we went along, there were kids that quit. They weren't playing. I'm not going to name them. I was like, why would your mom come all the way up from Georgia just to see you? Oh, wait, she comes to get you and clean you out and drive you home. Okay. It was like 3 or 4 guys quit. And I'm like, you can't stick it out for another month with something special. But that's life. That's people. I'm just saying some guys quit along the way. They weren't the only ones not playing. Rookies. But they wanted to be part of something special. We now have something very special here. There's such a huge lesson in all of that. So my point is, if you don't want to tune in during the preseason for any league or whatever, that's fine, but you really miss a lot. And what I will also tell you is with this team winning, there's a lot of people showing up, coming out of the woodwork, as they say. Guess what? The players aren't fooled. You weren't here at the start of this. You just show up when we're winning. That's another thing. Trust me, I learned that a long time ago. The players are not fooled. Like, for instance, these pro football teams that have community-run boards, and when the team starts winning, they're down on the field after the game, high-fiving and hugging the players. The players are like, who are you? I am the chairman of the board. Who gives a... You're just showing up now? Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, Ottawa should be able to beat my team with a backup quarterback playing. Well, you're not playing Ottawa this week. You're playing Hamilton this week. You're talking about the BC Lions. So, yeah, we're a little bit all over the road here. But thank you, Jason and Red Deer, for looking up. He says, apparently the Hamilton Wildcats went winless in 1949. But that's not the same franchise. Well, I guess you're saying somebody did. Yeah, somebody did. Does that count, everybody? I guess it does. Canada, Mississauga says, did Scruffy really fax pics to Vintage Sasko? Apparently. None of that surprises me. By the way, my picks, I'm not going to move off them. For Pump Jacks, by the way, Pump Jacks Saloon, check them out. They got a watch party for the home game Friday night, 7 p.m. Ottawa Red Blacks at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Drinks, specials, all the rest. So Scruffy's got all the home teams. That's Toronto, Sask, Montreal, BC. My picks for Pump Jacks, and they'll be posted at rodpedersen.com. Twice voted Canada Sports Blog of the Year. Not a big deal. Calgary. I got Calgary to win tonight at Toronto, or Thursday night at Toronto. Sask to beat Ottawa. And then that doubleheader Saturday. Mine, Cody. I got Edmonton to win at Montreal. And Hamilton at BC. I know a lot of you have shown up here for the CFL Talk. It's hour one, and I'm cool with it. And all the old-time stories. Like, there's this whole adage, and George Cortez was, like, the greatest at it. George won 5 Grey Cups as an offensive coordinator with the Calgary Stampeders. If I have that, he's won 5 Grey Cups. I believe they were all with Calgary. And we're so close, and we still kind of are. We just haven't talked in a while. But, George used to always say, it's hard to beat a team 2 teams in a row. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. I'm like, why? No, it's not. In 2013, we beat you 4 times. 3 times in the regular season. That's the other interesting thing. George and I were friends, and he was on another team, and we would sit and argue about all this stuff. Rod, you give up so much great info on your website, who's starting where, what the injuries are. So, would we still beat your ass, George? So don't try to make me feel bad. Get out of here. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I mean, I kind of get it, but we beat them 4 times that year. 3 times in the regular season and once in the playoffs. If you're a better team, it ain't that hard. No, I know Montreal and Edmonton are very close talent-wise. Edmonton's already beat them once this year. That's my point, but Edmonton's got God on their side, which, by the way, a whole lot of people are talking about Ed Hervey, the general manager of the Edmonton Eskimos, referring to the Eskimos all day Saturday on the panel. I watched the pregame show. It was amazing. If you know Ed, and I do, he's going to do what Ed wants to do. End of story. It's pretty interesting that he came back to Edmonton for a second time as general manager, but also not, because the people running the team right now aren't the people that were running the team when he left the last time. It's a small league, so people do go back to places 2, 3, 4 times. It does happen a lot more in the CFL than any other league. But I mean, like, just because Ed's saying it doesn't mean they're going to go back to Eskimos. And I will say this. I mean, Chris Moore, the president of the Edmonton football team, has said they're not going back. I have it in print. I'm not going to paint him in a corner on that and say, you said you never would if they do go back. But until he says we're changing it, I'm going to stand by that they're not changing the team name. It feels like something's happening there in Edmonton because they're not referring to Elks at all on the broadcast and so forth, but I'm going to go by what he says. Vintage Sask, and what he said was that they're not going. They said it's not viable. It cost $1 million to change it. Do you want to turn around and piss away $1 million to go back to Eskimos? Maybe if they took up a GoFundMe, would raise $1 million, but I don't think the Thompson family that owns the team is that interested in pissing away $1 million on a team name. But I don't know them. Vintage Sasko writes in, says, I have a confession to make regarding Scruffy's faxed picks. I'm not sure I want to hear it, but hang on. For the rest of you that came up here for other, one more CFL note, join CFL legends Adam Bighill, Willie Jefferson, and Jake Seresna on the 7-day cruise of a lifetime for CFL fans out of Fort Lauderdale, February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices starting from $18.99. Cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe. Travel, Uniglobe. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. This is always fun for me every year. Point two, well, a few things. I mean, these NFL training camps, I love the coverage. They're underway, of course. How is Kyler Murray looking in Kevin O'Connell's offense? Is Aaron Donald any closer to making a decision about whether to unretire? What's the latest on Patrick Mahomes' injury recovery? How are the Packers planning to survive without Micah Parsons early in the season? Rookie quarterback Carson Beck thought he'd play in Thursday's Hall of Fame game against the Panthers, but he didn't know that he'd start. But the Cardinals resting regular season starter Jacoby Brissett and his backup Gardner Minshew. Beck will get the nod. He told reporters, quote, I had no clue I was going to start. USA Today came out with their records predictions. You watch the show every day. You know that I love that newspaper. I've been reading it, been a subscriber for 30 years. And this is another article that I love every year, the records projections. And by the way, the writer Nate Davis is usually completely out to lunch when you go back and look at the records. But anyways, these are the three teams that I follow the most. And if you want to know what your team's record projection is, I'll pass it along for you just in case you didn't read the USA Today today. Dallas Cowboys are my number one team. They got them projected at 11 wins. I've got them at 9. The Las Vegas Raiders, where we air nightly in prime time on Silver State Sports, they have the Raiders at 3 wins. And the Miami Dolphins, where I live, 9 months out of. You want to know how many wins they got projected for the Miami Dolphins? 1. And I'm not ready. I'm not sure I'm ready mentally to go back into that when I go home in a month's time. But I'll look up your teams if you want to know. It's always fun. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca. Or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Hiring a video company. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hi. I'm just entertaining myself with your comments. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Baba Boom. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. It ain't hard. Note to Scruffy and Kevin the Medium and anybody else who needs to hear it. It is not hard filling an hour without you all. So everybody deserves a break, but don't get used to it. Thank you for tuning in and enjoying what I have to say. Noni writes in from Calgary, and she says, "Hi, Rod. I wished I'd been able to get to a Miller Express game this year. Maybe it'll work out in the playoffs. It's such an exciting league. You should be proud to be a part of it. Enjoy the ride." Oh, I say it pretty much every day. And you know me, Noni, enough to know that. The guys were saying yesterday, writing in here, because I said we have a team barbecue Thursday night. We'll hand out the team awards. The guys are like, "You better hope there's shrimp on that barbecue." I'm like, I'm just happy to be invited. I'm happy to be part of the team. That's how I look at it. That's why I said with those kids that quit, I'm like, you guys can't wait another month, even if you're not playing. You don't want to be part of this? They will regret it. And life is a crappy thing to live with regrets. I was saying earlier, I can't believe I nailed the year, 2003. Wow. That the Riders lost to the Hamilton Tiger Cats to give the Tabbies their only win of the season. Rob writes in from Windthorst, 902-518-3033. He says, 2003 Grey Cup, Danny McManus joked with the fans all week that the Riders ruined their perfect season. Remember that. Danny Mack, the Hall of Fame quarterback, sat in Ryderville with his hat pulled down over his eyes, chugging beer, talking to the fans all week. I'm sure that still happens. I don't know. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, both Cody Fajardo and Trevor Harris are God guys. So how does God decide who to back? Well, in the last two games, each team won once." Right? Yep. You're starting to figure it out. 902-518-3033. Monty in Saskatoon writes in, he says, "My NFL team is the Cowgirls." Wah, wah, wah. Like I said, I'm not switching teams. I'm just adding a team. The Las Vegas Raiders. And largely that's for business. And I like their gear and a whole lot of other reasons. The guys were asking why I'm wearing an XFL shirt. I said it was part of the bundle of clothing they sent me back in 2020 when we were trying to get me down there to be the voice of the league. But because of paperwork problems, we couldn't get it done in time. And that hatched the plan for me to get to the U.S. Ken writes in and says, "Taylor L. Gersma had the same problem you did, hoping to work in the UFL." Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his story is or what have you, but I know mine. And so I'm like, oh, this is what I need. This is what I'll go get. 902-518-3033. Saying it again for those that showed up late. We opened up with the CFL. It's summertime. There's not a whole lot else going on. My big story is the baseball. And actually, it's a bigger story to you people than I thought. But we're all part of this together, so you're all part of it too. This wonderful season. I'm so happy that you're paying attention and following. Virginia Eric writes in, he says, "Honestly, I won't watch preseason of any league. However, I understand why folks do. What do we say here? We're inclusive. We don't fight. We don't argue. And I'll say this again. The second that I get back to Florida, I'll be covering the Florida Panthers training camp and the Tampa Bay Lightning for as much as I can because I live in South Florida. But these players here with the baseball are every bit as important to me as a Matthew Tkachuk or Sergei Bobrovsky. Why not? These guys are high-level athletes. They're good young men, and they treat me great too. It's just wonderful to be in both places. Vancouver Eric writes, and he says, hot take, the only team in Canada that can survive without a starter, Toronto. He's talking about the CFL. I saw the article this morning that said both Chad Kelly and Nick Arbuckle are available for the Argonauts for Thursdays. So they haven't named a starter yet against the Calgary Stampeders. That's the rub as I sit and talk to the football guys. At what point do you cut bait, as they say, and go with a new quarterback? Or you go with a guy like Nick Arbuckle who, let's not kid each other, won you a Grey Cup. I would like to think there's a little loyalty there in Toronto. The guy came off the bench to win a Grey Cup for you. They got a great quarterback situation in Toronto. Meanwhile, in Winnipeg, it's been a revolving door. Hamilton's been a revolving door. I found it quite interesting with Scott Milanovich coming out of last week's game, the Week 9 loss. Who'd they play? Doesn't matter. Calgary. He said it's concerning that they can't find a quarterback to win games without Bo Levi Mitchell. And to be honest with you, Trey Ford and Jake Dolegala have started games and they can't win. Maybe it's not just a quarterback problem. I don't know. Frosty the throw man, which, I felt bad. Harrison Frost is now the fourth quarterback that's played significant time for Hamilton, and nobody seems to be able to get it done there. I felt a little bad-ish just because of my affection for the BC Lions. Well, hang on. Your Lions won with QB3 at Winnipeg Thursday, Vancouver, Eric. What are you talking? And whoever starts for them. I saw the report from Farhan Lelji yesterday that Nathan Rourke is quarterback in the one group. So it looks like they'll have Nathan Rourke on Saturday. But you won with your third-string quarterback. So what's the problem? Joe Lazado. Thank you, Joe. The man hears me. He writes and he says, good morning, Roddy. He's watching from Long Island, New York. He says, curious as to what USA Today has the Bills record as. Also, the Dolphins' win total seems a bit high, LOL, for those that just tuned in. I was reading the records for the NFL teams as projected by the USA Today. Now, this guy is usually way out to lunch. Nate Davis is his name, but I don't care. He writes it. It takes balls to make these predictions, and I admire that. And I said they got the Dolphins for 1 win, the Raiders for 3 wins. Me and Monty's Dallas Cowboys for 11 wins, and bear with me. He's got the Bills winning the East, the AFC East, at 11-6. Joe Lazito, new coach, new stadium, new uniforms, new players like DJ Moore and Bradley Chubb, new defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, who could be quite an X factor given the dip that side of the ball has taken the past few years. But will they collectively add up to more than the same old Bills? Good enough to fall agonizingly short of reaching the Super Bowl? In this seeming grab bag of a conference? Just maybe. That's from the USA Today. It's $13.99 a month for the subscription. I don't mind. So Joe Lazito. They got the Bills with 11 wins, the Patriots with 10. The Jets with 3, and the Dolphins with 1. So when I say I don't even think I'm going to turn the radio on. No, I probably won't when I go home. I'll say this again. 6 all-sports radio stations, and in the fall, in my listening area, I got this new car with just the freaking antenna on that thing. Pulls in radio stations from space. It's like the old John Deere 4230 tractor we had that made me fall in love with radio back when I grew up as a farm boy. 850 KOA Denver, 660 Keys Country, Williston, North Dakota. 880 CKLQ Brandon. We got them all on that tractor. And my car's the same. But the problem is all they talk about is the Dolphins. And then you got, like, that's all, win or lose. And I get it. It's like the riders here. I don't listen to what they got on here. I don't want to hear that either. And to hear Joe Rose crying, I don't like to hear or see a grown man cry. It's very hard. And Joe Rose is crying, and he's going to be doing a lot of crying. I mean, literal crying on the air, not figuratively. That nobody loves the Dolphins more than Joe Rose. Played for him. He's their broadcaster. It's just hard to listen to. It was entertaining for a while, but they're not getting better. They're getting worse. See, the Dolphins changed their president yesterday, too, by the way. 902-518-3033. That is the text line. We have a sports update coming up. Come on, Vancouver. Eric, I thought you were a positive guy. He says the Lions beat a backup quarterback. Oh, my God. Let's turn those frowns upside down when we come back. John Bender coming up in hour 2 for a vast NFL and CFL talk. Like I said, we can handle this just fine on our own. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'll say this again. I'm not going to play the clip here on the show of our players singing Wonderwall to the crowd last night, the sold-out crowd at Roswell's Park. But go to my social media at Rod Pedersen Official or Miller Express Baseball, and you'll see it there. I tear up when I think about this team and how close they are, how well they treat me, how they play together and for each other. It reminds me of the military in a lot of ways. And when the parents are globbing onto this, and it's funny because Ken in Mississauga writes in and he says, that's a cool story, hearing faraway radio stations in the tractor. Yeah, it was a John Deere 4230, and when I left the farm and I was 20-year-old voice of the Prince Albert Raiders, my mom said that my dad would go out and sit in that same tractor to pull in 900 CKBI to hear me calling the Raider games on the radio. That kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore, but it's interesting because we have a player, all-star right fielder from Sydney, Australia, and his dad, Wayne, sent me a photo of the Sydney Bridge. He goes, I'm out for a walk. Here's a look at the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Australia, watching the game yesterday on Flow College. It's quite a change. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, I suppose Edmonton versus Montreal is the game of the week. But the story of the week is Dave Dickinson becoming the 12th CFL coach to reach 100 wins. I'm not even going to be a dink about it. That's the story to you. And only you. And the Dickinson family. But other than that, and I've got Calgary to pick to win it, by the way. So, Virginia Eric writes, and he says, the Snowman has the Carolina Panthers as a surprise NFC team. What about the USA Today? Listen, I called it up here for you, for those that joined earlier. It's, to me, it ain't Christmas, but it's like one of those very big holidays on the calendar when the USA Today comes out with their record projections for the NFL. We only talk about it once a year, so we get them all out today. And I asked the viewers on this day what your team is, and I'll tell you. So I'll get it. I have Carolina's here. But the thing about Snowman, and I say this lovingly because I've known him for years, and as a broadcaster, I think he is elite. But his hot takes are just a little less than mine in terms of wacko. I remember, listen, come on, Snowman, if you're watching in Indiana right now, because he watches and listens every day. I remember the one year he was on, he says, the Los Angeles Rams are frauds. And they won the Super Bowl. It sounded great at the time and very convincing. Yeah, Los Angeles Rams are frauds. And they won the Super Bowl. I'll never forget it. John Frenzy said that back. Just be convincing. Say it convincing enough and they'll believe you. So here's your NFC South predictions. And just so you know, this guy, Nate Davis from the USA Today, like 3 years ago, had the Jets in the Super Bowl. Do you all remember that? I know you, Ryan, in upstate New York, you remember that because you're a Jets fan. And I was like, what are they smoking at the USA Today office that they got the Jets in the Super Bowl? Anyways, NFC South, they got the Saints winning it, and I hope they do under Kellen Moore. The 10 wins feels a little lofty, but they were broadcasting live from, oh my God, I just clicked on the dang button and here we go, I got it back. They had Kellen Moore on there. I got a soft spot for Kellen Moore because he looks like one of my daughter's ex-boyfriends who I always got along with real well. I like that. I miss that boy. And Kellen Moore was, of course, a Cowboy, and we hope one day he comes back and coaches the team. But anyways, he's coaching New Orleans now in the NFC South. The USA has the Saints winning the division with 10 wins. They've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 8. You want to know why? It says they've been remarkably mediocre in 4 seasons under head coach Todd Bowles, though that will get you 3 division crowns in the NFC South. Exactly. But the Bucs collapsed down the stretch last year. And they've lost Mike Evans and Levante David. Baker Mayfield's playing unhappy. You kind of convinced me that the Bucs will suck. They got Carolina at 6 wins. And I feel that's low. By the way, I'm not saying the Snowman's wrong either on this one. I'm a Bryce Young fan, but they got Carolina at 6 wins, and then they got the Falcons with 6. And that was, so last place. Falcons and Panthers duking it out for last in the NFC South. That's why when I saw all the heralded news of Bijan Robinson becoming the highest paid NFL running back of all time yesterday, great. But the team's still going to suck, and they always suck. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, okay, Rod. Okay, Rod. You know that I'm just trying to get your goat because you're always trying to get mine. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, oh, yeah, after yesterday's show, I watched Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee, and oh, my God. He makes some good points, but terrible etiquette and timing of getting his points across. To be honest, as I watched that video, I'm like, I'm watching a train derailment in real time. Oh, my God. The second they gave him the mic, they should have yanked it out of his hands. But you know what? Again, it's in my commentary today. Or was it yesterday? I don't understand how some guys get away with things and other guys don't. The Steelers are issuing a statement basically backing Aaron Rodgers, saying he's entitled to his opinion. I guess Mike McCarthy talked about it yesterday. I'm done caring about it. I just thought it was disrespectful to do to McAfee, but McAfee doesn't seem to care either. I guess in today's world, all for the sake of clicks. I'll say it again, though. I do put myself, and I do work with some great mentors in the therapy counseling world in that this way. I'm like, I didn't bring this up to them, but I'm like, he said ESPN is gutless and lacks integrity. So they would say, the counselors, the professional counselors would say, well, how would that feel if somebody said that about you? I wouldn't like it. Is it true? No. Then don't worry about it. And maybe that's how ESPN's looking at it. I don't know. I mean, they could. Could they sue Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. It's his opinion. Players of the Week announced in the Canadian Football League today. Xander Horvath, Davis Alexander, and Tyson Philpott have been named the Week 9 Players of the Week. Xander Horvath of the BC Lions had career highs in carries and rushing yards, 191, and his second career 100-yard game. That's going down today in the Canadian Football League. Xander Horvath, Davis Alexander, and Tyson Philpott. Let me get through the rest of the warm-up. Oh, I didn't even get to this. I'll spend more time on it next hour. Point 3. Brock Lesnar has announced his official retirement from professional wrestling and for everything else too, unquote. The 49-year-old Lesnar, appearing on the Pat McAfee Show, announced his retirement on Tuesday. You heard this story. I got many on Brock Lesnar. We did that event in Assiniboia a few years ago, 2019, and I walked into the room with him. There's this green room with sponsors and everything before the events all the time. And to be honest, I thought he'd be bigger. I'm taller than Brock Lesnar, but he's 3 times as wide as me. I'm just saying, on TV, when we watch him, WWE, UFC, he looks 7 feet tall. He looks Hulk Hogan size. He's nowhere near the height of Hulk Hogan, but an unbelievable guy. I feel like I'll tell more of this next hour. He said, ask me anything you want. Just don't ask me about my wife. I don't know why that was, but I'm like, noted. But, I mean, they live down in the southeast corner of the province in Merrifield, Sask. And I remember when his kids were little, which was around that time. I know people from everywhere here, and they were saying, yeah, Lesnar's kids aren't that good. They're dragging the team down. I said, the kid was like 8. I said, why don't you go tell them that? And then I heard Lesnar's kid ended up getting drafted in the dub this year. Is it just because of who his dad is? Who knows? Who knows? That's why I feel so sorry for the kids of the stars, like a Deron Carter. It's a long list. Bronny James. It's hard for those guys, man. They should almost play another sport, which I guess the hockey players did of Brock Lesnar, but Deron was never going to live up. He couldn't. I mean, he could have, but he didn't. Point 4. Taylor Trammell hit a 3-run homer. Jose Altuve had 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and the Houston Astros beat the Blue Jays 7-2 on Tuesday night. Altuve hit an RBI single that went off the glove of Blue Jays third baseman Kazuma Okamoto and stayed in play to score Jordan Alvarez in the 5th inning, and then added another hit in the 7th to center field. Let's keep rolling. Point 5, brought to you by Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at our location at Costco, or the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Point 5, a star player with the Winnipeg Sea Bears basketball team of the Canadian Elite Basketball League was badly injured this past weekend after allegedly being attacked by a security staff at a downtown Winnipeg nightclub, the team said on Tuesday. Team said guard Teddy Allen is out of hospital but may need surgery and will miss Thursday's playoff game against the Saskatoon Mamba. The Sea Bears described Allen's injuries as significant, but did not elaborate. Winnipeg police would not confirm who was involved in the assault or what led up to it, only saying the investigation is ongoing. The 28-year-old from Arizona leads the Canadian Elite Basketball League in scoring. You don't want to fool around in downtown Winnipeg nightclubs. I don't know anything about the story at all. I'm going to tell you my story. I remember standing in line with the aforementioned David Benefield. I told you his name was going to come up. He was playing for the Bombers at the time. Somehow we ended up together in the line at the club. I can't even remember what the club was. Mikey Wynn from Winnipeg. Give me some popular nightclubs from 20 years ago. Popular nightclubs in Winnipeg from 20 years ago. Anyways, I was standing beside him, and I said to Benefield, riders don't wait in line in Regina. He gave me this look like he was going to pound me into the ground like a railroad spike. Pump. Somehow or another, we became great friends. He ended up playing with us 3-4 years later, and he still comes on this show. And he drove 2 hours across L.A. to come on our show at Super Bowl for 20 minutes. Love Benefield. I think he just appreciated the honesty. But that look from Benefield, you don't want to get it. You don't want to get it. Nope. Riders don't have to wait to get into clubs. Hour 2 coming up, including John Bender. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek and Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Happy Hump Day, everybody. It's the RP Show, Silver State Sports. Also, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and WQBZ radio. We're coming at you hot in a variety of ways. Speaking of hot, Nevada Wolfpack Hall of Fame offensive lineman, CFL alum John Bender coming up in the guest segment today for Prairie Panels. Howdy do. It is the RP Show, and I'm your host, RP. On this Wednesday, are you ready for some NFL football? Let's jump right into it. We got a lot of football to get today. That's what we're going to do with John Bender when he joins us next. But we're going to jump right into this in the warm-up, brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. If anything tickles your fancy along the way, shoot us a note at 902-518-3033, Prairie Mobile text line, and also the Western Dodge text line. We're opening with the National Football League. I said Thursday night is the Hall of Fame game. We're going to talk about that in a second. NFL training camps well underway. They have been for officially a week today. And I'm perusing the headlines across ESPN.com, NFL.com, NFLnetwork.com. How is Kyler Murray looking in Kevin O'Connell's offense? Is Aaron Donald any closer to making a decision about whether to unretire? What's the latest on Patrick Mahomes' injury recovery? How are the Packers going to make out with Micah Parsons? There's a million questions, okay, including, if you care, please tell me you're not going to bet on the Canton Hall of Fame game Thursday night, Panthers and Cardinals. Oh, my God. I'll just say it right now. If you bet on preseason football of any variety, but especially the National Football League, I got a bridge I'll sell you in San Francisco. But rookie quarterback Carson Beck thought he'd play in Thursday's Hall of Fame game against the Carolina Panthers. He didn't know he was going to start for the Cardinals. But with the Cardinals resting regular season starter Jacoby Brissett and his backup Gardner Minshew, Beck found out yesterday he'll get the nod. He told reporters, quote, "I had no clue I was going to start," Beck said Tuesday. Now, I guess that's the one thing. Enjoy now, you NFL fans, because optimism reigns supreme. Everybody thinks their team has a chance. And a couple of weeks in, all of a sudden, some teams are going to be 0-2, and we'll get the numbers of whatever teams start 0-2, rally to make the playoffs. Not many. And I've said to the viewers all show, because this is hour 2 for those that have been watching streaming and listening on the radio, it's Christmas for me. It's not Christmas. It's like, what's like a lower tier holiday on the calendar? I don't even want to say that Easter's less important. I'm just saying it's another day. The day where USA Today comes out with its standings projections and records projections for NFL teams. I'll tell you right now, there are 3 teams that I follow, but we have fans, as we've learned from every team that watch this show every day on streaming, Silver State Sports. But the 3 I follow the most is my lifelong team, the Dallas Cowboys. And Nate Davis, one guy, wrote these whole things. He didn't collect. He didn't go around the office taking pools and stuff, if they even have an office anymore. It was all his. And normally he's out to lunch on these, but I don't care. It takes balls to make these. As I was saying, you know, the snowman's usually wrong in his hot takes. I don't have a perfect record. I mean, nobody does. But for Nate Davis to come out and put his record projections out there and know that jerks like me are going to go back and look them up at the end of the season to see how right or wrong they are. And normally he's wrong, but it gives us something. It gives us something. He's got the Dallas Cowboys with 11 wins. As a matter of fact, I'll call it up here right now. I just wrote down the teams that I follow. My lifelong team, the Dallas Cowboys. The Miami Dolphins, where I live during NFL season, he has them at 1-16, and I don't even want to think about what's ahead for me. Other than I'm not going to be listening to local radio. And then that's hard. Because I have a lot of friends now on the radio there, but it's like I don't like hearing grown men cry. I don't. And the Las Vegas Raiders, where we air every night in prime time on Silver State Sports, he's got the Raiders at 3 wins. As a matter of fact, as we sit here, what the hell, y'all want to hear it? It's like Kenny and Nagunst, you know Kenny, from 107.1 Amarillo Sports Radio. They went through every single team's schedule all summer, picking winners and losers. It's just they cannot get enough of it. I respect that. So from the NFC East, Nate Davis has the Dallas Cowboys winning the division with 11 wins, and I might remind him that we've had we being the Cowboys. Mike Davis of the Vegas Nighthawks said it's okay if I refer to them as we. We've had 12 wins and missed the playoffs. Just so you got them at 11 and winning the division. Whatever. I'm just reading it. Dallas first in the NFC East. Commanders second with 9 wins. Eagles third with 8 wins. Where you at, Trevor Harris from the aforementioned WQAM Miami? Got to get you on. Biggest Eagles fan I know. I was assaulted in a gas station in Irving, Texas one time. It was a day of a game. I was wearing a Cowboys jersey, my Aikman number 8 Cowboys jersey, but I was wearing Saskatchewan Rough Riders shoes that were green and white, and guess what? They're Eagles green. I had a guy grab me, throw me up against the Slurpee machine, the slushy machine, and put his elbow under my chin and said, "Take those off." I'm like, hey. They're CFL shoes. Eagles fans are special, man. And they have the New York Giants with 6 wins, last place in the NFC East. Because you asked, NFC North, Chicago Bears, they got them winning it with 12 wins. Detroit next with 11 wins. Green Bay next with 10 wins. How's everybody going to have double-digit wins in the division? And Minnesota Vikings with 9. Last place, the Vikes. How about that? NFC South, a lot of viewers were writing in asking about them. They got the New Orleans Saints winning it with 10 wins, and for Kellen Moore's sake, I hope they do. They've got Tampa Bay finishing second with 8 wins, Carolina third, actually tied for third, Carolina and Atlanta each with 6 wins. NFC West, the Super Bowl favorites at FanDuel and pretty much everywhere, the LA Rams favored to win that division, the NFC West with 14 wins, and that is the toughest division in the National Football League. Thank you. Also, the Seahawks, 14 wins. In the same division, San Francisco with 11. I saw a viewer, Jason, writing in here earlier saying that the 49ers have too many injuries already, but 11 wins for the Niners. Another division in the NFC predicted by the USA Today to have double-digit wins. I don't even think that's mathematically possible, but that's okay. We live in a time now where accuracy does not matter. And the Cardinals, oh my God, 2 wins. Going to be a long, long fall in the Valley of the Sun again. AFC East, Joe Lazito is watching on Long Island today. He asked about his Bills. They got him winning the East at 11-6. To be honest, as I read the little snapshot preview here, I'm like, I don't even know if I would go along with a brand new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new stadium. I mean, this guy's going to be getting lost in there, let alone trying to win football games. Sir, you're not this way. Oh, don't think that doesn't happen. Bills first with 11 wins. Patriots second with 10 wins. Jets third with 3 wins. And then the aforementioned Finns with 1 win. AFC North. I don't know whether I go along with this either, but again, I submit it respectfully. The Cincinnati Bengals, they have winning the AFC North with 11 wins. Ravens second with 10 wins. Baltimore. Pittsburgh third with 7 wins. And bringing up the rear, the Cleveland Browns with 5 wins. I'm like, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, I guess it's a little like yesterday, Chris Dingman saying Mike Babcock and the owner is going to go one of 2 ways. Which, whether you want to call that a hot take or a bold prediction or just fact, who knows how it's going to go with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know that they're off to a great start. That Mike McCarthy has to come out and address his quarterback's comments about Anthony Fauci. Like, is this real life? AFC South, they got the Houston Texans winning the division with 12 wins. Jacksonville Jaguars in second with 9 wins. Tennessee Titans third place with 6 wins. See when I went like that? And the Colts with 5 wins. And the division that many people still feel could be the AFC West. Let's bring it home with the AFC West, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. They got the Denver Broncos winning it all at 12-5. I might have more wins for them, assuming Bo Nix stays healthy. Kansas City second with 11 wins. Los Angeles Chargers third with 9 wins. And the Raiders last with 3 wins. And let me read what Nate Davis has to say why from USA Today. It will likely be a tale of 2 seasons, the one during which number 1 pick Fernando Mendoza rides the bench and the one when he's in the lineup. Presumably, neither is likely to be pretty. But at least one chapter will be worth watching. That's the one thing about the NFL, and I respect it. Fans, don't turn it off. I don't mind it. Like we were mentioning the Blue Jays last hour. I'm not watching the Blue Jays anymore. There's too much other stuff on. It's summertime. America's Got Talent is on. I would rather watching a guy swallowing swords lit on fire than the Blue Jays not caring. Anyways, last year when the Blue Jays were on their run, we weren't on Silver State Sports yet. People were writing in from Toronto going, "You're a Blue Jays bandwagon show." Yes, we are. Thanks for noticing. We pay attention when they're winning. The warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the Rod Pedersen Show and the CFL's BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. I'm moving over to the CFL because the poll question today is, what is Canada's game of the week for those that celebrate? We made our picks for Pump Jack's Saloon and Steakhouse last hour. There's a watch party for Friday night's Saskatchewan Roughriders game, but that ain't the game of the week. Hang on, I'll get to the viewer questions in a second. Calgary at Toronto Thursday. Friday, Ottawa at Saskatchewan in a rematch of the 1966 Grey Cup. And a Saturday doubleheader, the Edmonton Elks and their star quarterback, Nevada Hall of Famer Cody Fajardo at Montreal, which is the game of the week that's leading the poll. It's the battle of the division leaders. And late Saturday, the Hamilton Tiger Cats at the BC Lions in a rematch of, I think, a Grey Cup that's never happened. Can somebody correct me on that? I believe that's the only combination that has never hit for a Grey Cup matchup in CFL history. From the audience, Virginia Eric writes in, he says, I was at a Redskins versus Eagles game around 2006-07, I believe. Saw 2 Eagles fans stab a Redskins fan in the throat on the stadium steps / concourse. Eagles fans are insane. Insane! That's what I'm saying, man. I got an elbow right under my chin in a Slurpee machine at a gas station in Irving, Texas. It was odd. I was there with my wife, and I went over to – no, that was a different trip, different wife. But I remember one time I went to go get coffee, bring it back to the hotel room, and these 2 ladies of the night, except it was 7 a.m., they're like, excuse me, are you from Canada? Yeah, this was 2000 when I was there for the George Strait Country Fest. And are you from Canada? I'm like, is it that obvious? Get that all the time. Not as much as I used to, but, we think we know you. We think we partied with you. Not possible. Never been here before. At that time, I had not. I didn't know them. Speaking of George Strait, we've been talking about the baseball team for which I broadcast the games, the NCAA Summer League, the Western Canadian Baseball League. Oh, we missed the 111, but that's okay. Where you at, Carlos? Your Colts are favored to have 5 wins. You might have turned it off when I said that. Picked to have 5 wins. Anyways, we got a starting pitcher, Aiden Johnson from Westminster, Colorado. And the other night, he's warming up. He's starting the game. And they're playing Honky Tonk Crazy by George Strait over the sound system at the stadium. I'm like, what the hell? And I was not ready for that. And I happened to pull him aside last night before the game, and I said, Aiden, your warm-up song, when your entrance song is Honky Tonk Crazy by George Strait, that's an album cut from 1982. Kid, you weren't even thought of. Your parents weren't even thought of yet at that time. And he goes, oh, we played it at school. It's a great summer song. I'm like, yes, it is. How do you even know? Honky Tonk Crazy, George Strait, 1982. Look it up. I used to be a country music DJ. We're a little bit all over the map here, but I'm okay with it because I'm flying the ship. 902-518-3033. Point 1 NFL, point 2 CFL. We'll get to the rest later. David writing in from Winnipeg, Manitoba. David number 2. He says, Rod, I'm a longtime Niners fan who thinks that they can win 11 if Bosa gets and stays healthy. Strong defense is the key for them. Raiders with Kirk Cousins can definitely win more than 3. My God, I had them winning 3 by the end of the first month. Yeah, I think that's quite low, but again, I admire Nate Davis for having the stones to come out and make his predictions on this, because a lot of guys don't. You didn't see me writing a standings projection for the National Football League. I do it for the Canadian Football League. I do it for the National Hockey League, but I don't do it for them all. We have a sports update. I have a lot of notes written down here, which we will get to later on in the program, because I'm very excited to welcome John Bender next. Nevada Wolfpack Hall of Fame and CFL alum, but he loves the NFL. Oh, Brock Lesnar retiring. I haven't got to those Brock Lesnar stories yet. That's coming up. But our appearance with John Bender is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 306-985-0050. NFL questions, CFL questions, college football questions. John Bender can handle them all, and he joins us next. Silver State Sports Game Plus streaming in WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back to the RP Show. Seems to always be the way. We talk more and more football as we work towards the weekend, summertime, fall, all the rest, and that's the case today. John Bender, Hall of Famer with the Nevada Wolfpack, Canadian football alum, joining us from the office today in Oil City. Hey, Johnny, welcome back to the RP Show. How's the summer, my guy?
Hey, I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're having a good one. Pretty soon all leagues will be playing, and for a football person like yourself, that's absolute heaven and nirvana, I know. Now, let me get this straight. Last time you were on, did we discern the LA Rams are your team, John? Was I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's right. The LA Rams are my team. I grew up a Rams fan, the greatest show on turf, when I was, about 10 or 12 or so. That was the team that I decided to, hook the wagon to. And it was a tough 20 years after that first couple of years there, but they've really come back around, so that's been great.
Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Dick Vermeil, I know the team. Absolutely. Well, so this seems like a different franchise from that, and it is in a way, but the reason I opened with that, the USA Today came out with their standings projections for the whole league, and it's written by one guy, Nate Davis. I enjoy it every year when it comes out. They got the Rams 14 wins, but the Seahawks also 14 wins in the NFC West. Cardinals 2 wins. It's going to be an absolute meat grinder out there. What do you think of that division?
Yeah, I mean, the NFC West, I think even last year was one of the best divisions in football. The only teams that beat the NFC West in the playoffs was the other NFC West teams. You guys saw the Seahawks beat the Niners, and the Seahawks eventually beat the Rams and everybody else. So, I mean, that's going to be the premier division in football. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think that, there's 2 games against the Rams and the Seahawks late in the season. Those are going to tell us a lot of the story about, who's probably going to be playing in the playoffs at home and playing in NFC Championship games and things like that.
Well, staying with the NFC West, I asked the viewers to write in questions for you, and David number 2 in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, can you ask John, does he think the lack of full participation by Kyle Shanahan will affect the Niners' start and season?
That's a good question. I do think that Kyle Shanahan is very involved in their offense. I mean, he seems to be able to get the most out of any quarterback that they put out there. They don't have to go get the first overall pick to have a success there on offense. So, yeah, I think they might slow down a little bit. Unfortunately, they have the Rams in week 1. That's a bit of a weird game because they're going to be playing in Australia, so it might be a little bit different for both sides. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough division. Like you mentioned, there's 2 teams projected to have 14 wins. So you don't want to be, starting the season 1-2 or 1-3 or anything like that. So they're going to have to come out hot, and they're going to have to do it with some of the other guys. It seems with a different coach in there for a little bit. We'll see how much Shanahan can contribute. I'm sure he'll be doing as much as he can.
At the other end of it, if you saw what we were talking about earlier, they got the Raiders at 3 wins. They got the Dolphins at 1 win. Cardinals at 2 wins. Whew. Do you go along with all those?
I think those are low totals. I think that all those teams, I wouldn't be surprised if all of those teams got to 4 wins. I know that they don't have a ton of talent, a ton of name breakers, but there's a lot of guys there that are professional football players that are talented, that want an opportunity to continue their careers and everything else. So I know a lot of fans like this idea of maybe rebuilding, going to get higher draft picks. I can tell you the players do not. The players want to extend their careers, especially in pro football, where, it's year to year, basically every year with their contracts. If they can elongate their career, put good film on the table, when they go to the next team or when they go to, contract negotiations, they're going to try to do that.
How much will you be following the preseason in the NFL?
I watch it a little bit. The main things I'm watching for in preseason is every team has, these battles internally. The one that I'm interested in a little bit for the Rams is how, this is, I always say inside baseball, but inside football, I guess. But, I'm watching the tight end battle. How are the tight end depth charts going to form? And is this a waste of my time? Because in mid-season, they might just reevaluate the depth chart too. I'm interested to see, who wins the competition at right tackle. Is that going to be someone else that's going to get involved? The Rams don't have much, as far as position battles. Other teams, a lot of the positions are kind of wide open, and they have some guys they drafted, some linebackers maybe in the second or third round that can take over some spots. But every team is trying to do the same thing, put in some younger players that they can contribute young, contribute early. They get them in there at a low dollar amount, and they can do a lot of things on the field. And hopefully the next offseason they can use some more draft capital or sign some free agents to plug the other holes.
I always say when we talk NFL, John, the comments pop, and there's a lot for you, and some CFL as well. But we'll just stick with the Rams. One more from me. Had John Murphy on last week. And was Murph in Calgary when you were there with the Stamps?
Yeah, he was the assistant GM when I was in Calgary. I know Murph.
Yeah, okay. So I asked him, if he's coming back, why is Aaron Donald not in camp? And he says it's because he doesn't need to be. What do you know about that situation? Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any insider info or anything like that, but I do agree that he'd be some guy that just wouldn't need to be in camp. The reason that you wouldn't need him in camp is he's shown everything he can. He might be around the team somewhere where we can't see him, and he's doing some drills to stay in shape to get things going. But I imagine even if we saw him in the season, he would kind of use the season almost as a training camp where the first 4 or 5 games, maybe he'd be on a rep count where he's out there for 10 or 15 plays. But what do they really need Aaron Donald for if they wanted to have him there? The playoffs. So they'd be doing anything and everything they can to get him to the highest level to perform late in the season into the playoff run and provide some, much needed depth and provide some electric depth. You get late in the game and you can pair up Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett for other teams when they're trying to do a game-scoring drive. It's a real headache for teams. I always say when you have pass rushers, it's tough enough to have one great pass rusher, but the offensive line is usually on a 5-on-4 where they have 5 offensive linemen against 4 D linemen, and they often slide or chip or try to protect towards the best defender. In this situation, that'd be Myles Garrett. While you leave an Aaron Donald one-on-one on the backside, you're going to have a lot of problems. And if you're going to slide the other direction, you're going to leave Myles Garrett one-on-one. So it really creates problems for teams, and it's going to be a real challenge for them.
John Bender with us, Canadian Football League alum, but also Nevada Wolfpack alum, a man who blocked for both Colin Kaepernick and Cody Fajardo. I feel like that should be on your business card, John. Maybe it is. Virginia Eric writes in, he says, hey, John, do you think Detroit will have a bounce-back year this year?
I think the Lions are talented. I think they'll have a really good team. They have a great opportunity ahead of them. I like what they can do on offense. They can really run the football. They can pound it. They can go up top when they need to. My question with the Lions is always, can they get after the quarterback and can they play defense at a high level? And if they can do that, then certainly they can bounce back. But I'd be looking at the Lions. They're in a tougher division now. The teams around them have gotten better too. So, yeah, they're going to have to do a few things, and hopefully they're, a 10-plus win team. I think would be a good season for the Lions.
I've seen it enough to know the importance of coaching. Like that step back last year for the Lions, how much do you think it had to do with them losing both coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson?
For sure, it had a lot to do with that. When you look at the head coaches in the league, I think there's some guys that are big on X's and O's, and I think there's some guys that are big on motivating. I think that Dan Campbell would fall into the motivator category where he's a great motivator. He'll get everything out of the guys. But, I don't know how he is on X and O's. Maybe he's really good at that also. But it seems like he had some guys that were great at X's and O's before. And now those guys moved on to other teams, and, they've had to pick it up. And with the, coaches you're going to replace them with, they're not always going to be at the same level.
Okay. The CFL fans have shown up. Kirk from Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, Thursday, BMO Field, finally, after 2 months, Stampeders at Argonauts. Be there or be square. Rematch John Bender of the 2017 Grey Cup and also the 1971 Grey Cup. Well, what's your read on that game?
Obviously, I like the Stampeders. They've been scoring points in bunches. I've been really excited to see what they can do. I'm always curious now as I look around the league, our team's going to be able to keep up with them. They've scored 40 points on a lot of teams. The last time they played the Argos, they hung 58 points on them. So if they do anything like that, or the Argos are going to be able to keep up, I'm saying the Stampeders defense hasn't been phenomenal. I think it's been improving. I think the last game they did a lot of great things. They even scored 2 touchdowns. They were opportunistic with turnovers. But yeah, as we look towards that, I know that people in Toronto are going to be excited. I've heard rumors they've already sold over 20,000 tickets, so that's great. That's a nice number for the Argos. And it should be a great day for football there in Toronto. And I'm excited for what the Stampeders can do. They've kind of hit the ground running here. They've got 2 straight road wins. Hopefully they can make it 3. They've got a little bit of a softer schedule coming up. I know they got the Red Blacks and the Ticats and 2 big games against the Elks. So there's lots to be excited about here in Calgary if you're a Stampeders fan.
Well, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, and 2012 Grey Cup and 1991, the rematch of, I just always have fun throwing that out there. With the Argos being on the road for so long, and Kirk says it, they haven't been home. They haven't played a home game all year thanks to the dang World Cup. Put your player shoes on, which I know you always do. How big of a factor would that be on their start to the season? Record-wise.
I mean, it'd be really challenging. It'd be very challenging to be on the road as much as they were. I think they've done a pretty good job. I always worry if teams do this, do they end up like 0-6 or something like that, right? Because it's tough to come back from that. So I think they battled. I think that I'm sure they have great team camaraderie because they spent a lot of time together on the road here over the last few months. And now they have an opportunity to do things in Toronto at home. I'm sure the guys are very excited. I'm sure they won't need to, do anything extra to get up for this one. I'm sure they'll be really excited to play in Toronto moving forward. And if they can win, I mean, that would be a big win for them to beat the Stampeders at home. I think that could give them a lot of momentum here as we go into the later parts of the season.
That's a lot of time, everybody, on the Calgary-Toronto game. But, John, that's the Stamps are his team, so I'm cool with it. But I got to ask you, the game of the week, that's the poll question today. What's Canada's game of the week? It's Edmonton and Montreal, division leaders. You played with Cody Fajardo. We brought that up at Nevada. What is it about this guy, John? He's a winner. What is it about him?
I mean, he's just a competitor, right? He's going to do everything he can to win football games. I mean, I was pretty old when Cody was there in Nevada. He was a freshman that was running the scout team against our starting defense. And whenever the defense would start to get a little too cocky, we'd always say that, we're going to come sit Cody on you because he's a competitor that can beat them. So even when he was a young guy playing with some of the star players that were older, he was always stepping up, trying to do everything he can to compete, to do everything he can. So now that he's playing pro and played at a high level for a long time, we've seen what he can do. Sometimes he can run the ball 15 carries for 80 yards and a couple touchdowns. Sometimes he'll throw it for 500 yards if he needs to. Whatever you want him to do to win football games, sometimes it's taking a big hit. Sometimes it's go downfield, make a big block. But he's the ultimate team guy. And I think him and Coach Killam, I know Coach Killam really well too over the years. They have a great camaraderie and they seem like they have, a great thing going there in Edmonton. And, I've been excited to watch. It's been great to see. It was exciting to see 30,000 plus back in Commonwealth and see the city of Edmonton, getting back in line here for their Elks.
It was good. It looked like old times. And by the way, with Ottawa, 0-7, they just cut what I think is their top receiver, certainly their highest paid receiver, Eugene Lewis. They say he's not a fit there. I said, if I was Eugene, I would say, good. I don't want to fit with an 0-7 team. Where would you start if you were Ottawa at 0-7 to fix this thing?
Great question. I mean, I know everybody looks at the quarterback first because they're the one with the football, but Jake Maier's stats haven't been awful. I mean, he's not like he's turning the ball over like crazy. His completion percentages are okay. As an offensive lineman, of course, I'm looking at the line of scrimmage first. What can we do on the O lines and the D lines to get better, and what can we do to have more ball control, get after other teams' quarterbacks, etc. I think those are the places I look at first if you're trying to turn a team around. There's no, when we look at these drafts, NFL, CFL drafts, we see a lot of edge rushers, DNs or D linemen, and we see a lot of offensive tackles drafted early in these rounds because they're hard to find, and when you have good ones, you want to hold on to them. So that's what I would expect to see here moving forward. If we look at Ottawa, they're going to be looking to find opportunities to get younger, get a few more guys in the fold on the line of scrimmage, and try to improve there.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a bye this week, and their fans have written in and said at least they won't break their heart this week. They're not playing. Are the good times over in Winnipeg, John Bender?
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for Winnipeg to get old for seemingly 5 years. I remember going on radio here in Calgary and telling people that, you know, a lot of the Blue Bombers are well into their 30s. That's not usually good in pro football. But they went to 5 straight Grey Cups with a lot of guys that were in their 30s. It was very impressive. And now, you know, Stanley Bryant, their left tackle there, I mean, I played with him. That's not young. So Stanley, I think he's in his 40s now. And they got other guys that are well over the 30s. And I think they just slowed down a bit. But the Blue Bombers, you know, they seemingly always bounce back. They seemingly keep coming back and winning games late in the season. So I wouldn't count them out just yet. I know they've had a tough stretch at home here early in the season, but we've seen them have tough stretches and bounce back before. There's a well-coached group. We'll see if they can get Claros back here in the future as well. I'm sure that would help also.
While I have you, we have a few minutes left here. You've referenced the all being on the radio in Calgary. That all sports radio station is gone. I know by the end you were a big part of that, spending a lot of time on there. How has that affected you, and what's it like in the market? I bet you feel like a family member died, the amount of time you spent listening to that station.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for a lot of people. I mean, as you know, I'm sure a lot of your fans feel the same way, that it's great to have a local connection or a connection to a team or a connection to whatever you're connected to. And in Calgary for many years, that was Sportsnet 960. Now I know that they're no longer in the market. And it was all just kind of one day it happened, right? It wasn't like they had a lead into it or anything like that. So, yeah, it's challenging. I know a lot of my friends, they're big sports people. They enjoy, whether it was the Flames, the Stampeders, or other sports that they were talking about. They enjoyed, you know, turning on the radio and having someone to listen to and have kind of a friend. So it's super challenging. I hear from lots of people that they're disappointed. They have extra time in their day. They're not sure what to listen to on the drive in or the drive home from work. And, I mean, it'll be interesting when the Flame season starts to see how they get the media out there, as the Flames have a big season here with the last year of the Saddle Dome and going into the new year here with the new arena. I'm sure something will pop up. I have no idea what it will be.
Well, this is just like two old friends talking here right now because, you know, it's terrible. And when did you realize that sports and media are very similar? Like for those guys, and you know them all, one day you're done. Your career ended one day too. I think that might have been on your own terms, not the other team part, but they're very similar that way. That's why I think I've always got along with the players, because we live as performers. It could be over tomorrow, and that's not the funnest way to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I reached out to a lot of the guys and I said, you know, like what happened to the Sportsnet or, you know, the radio station isn't, you know, indicative of who you are, right? Like you had a great career, you had a great run. Does it continue? Hopefully. But if it doesn't, you can't look back at it and be upset by it either, right? Just to get to that level for those guys to be on the radio. I don't know how many sports talk radio full-time employees there are in Canada, but it's probably less than 25. And for those guys to build, you know, carve out a career there with, you know, they're constantly trying to replace them. Just like in pro football, you know, they draft a new guy every year to replace them. And they're always looking for the younger, cheaper option. And if you can carve out a career, great, good for you. You had a great opportunity. You had a lot of fun. A lot of your family members and people around you were really excited, really enjoyed it. But, you know, that doesn't last forever. I think, you know, you've had a great run, Rod. I mean, I know that you created your own situation here, but yeah, I mean, it's just different for everybody how it all carves out and how it goes over time here.
Well, John, good for you for reaching out to those guys. You're a good guy. I appreciate the time. Enjoy the ball. Let's do it again soon.
All right, for sure. Thank you.
John Bender joining us from Calgary, Nevada Wolfpack Hall of Famer, CFL alum. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way here on the RP Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show, Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, podcast form, of course, and WQVZ if you're listening to us later. Your home for sports and sports talk, Eastern Alabama, West Central Georgia. Shout out Ryan O'Radio down there. You're doing a great job running that 1700 AM band down there. By the way, I apologize. Got to it late. Kim is tuned in from Calgary, and she says, John, I respect your opinion, but as a Stamps fan, you know Mayer will never be a first-string quarterback. That's from Kim. John, that's Jason in Red Deer. Sorry, Jason in Red Deer says, got to go to a meeting. Have a great day, everyone. It's such a, I love the coffee shop portion of what we're doing here. I just envision this, the bell at the door tingling. In and out, people come and go as the sports chat goes on. A sports update, now that I think about it, on this Wednesday. Tarek Skubal pitched well in his Dodgers debut. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, but his new team's bats went silent in a 5-1 loss to the Cubs. And the fans at Wrigley Field gave him and the Dodgers a taste of what's to come and the rest of the season, raining boos down on the team that ruined baseball. If you know, you know. The Falcons gave Bijan Robinson a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million, making him the highest-paid running back ever. The Ravens gave Zay Flowers a 4-year, $140 million extension with $108 million guaranteed, the most ever for a wide receiver. The Bears gave Darnell Wright a 4-year, $116 million extension, the richest ever for a right tackle. Carlos Alcaraz has withdrawn from the upcoming Cincinnati Open due to his lingering wrist injury, despite it reportedly being completely healed for the past few weeks. His status for the U.S. Open remains up in the air. Cleveland's WNBA expansion franchise will be called the Sirens, named for Lake Erie's power and pull. The league's 16th team is set to debut in 2028, followed by additional expansion clubs in 2029 in Detroit and 2030 in Philadelphia. PGA Tour rookie Jackson Koiven, currently in the hunt for a spot in the FedEx Cup playoffs, was named the SEC Male Athlete of the Year, becoming the first golfer to win the award in its 51-year history and the first Auburn athlete to win it since Bo Jackson in 1986. Sports update brought to you by our friends at the Ultimate Fan Zone. Shop Ultimate Fan Zone, your authentic MLB fan store, for official jerseys, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. Game day, every day at UFZ. It is kind of the fun point of the show where we turn it over to you, the viewers. We got 15 minutes left today, and that probably feels like an eternity to you. It's not. It goes by very fast. So I'll open it up again, 902-518-3033. We're never hurting for comments. Oh, by the way, for the local people that have the means, Ultimate Fan Zone is selling tickets for our collegiate baseball team, the Moose Jaw Miller Express. The playoffs open on Friday against an as-yet-to-be-determined opponent. We opened the show almost 2 hours ago talking about the very, very special fun night last night. And if I get talking about this baseball club too much, they go in and out of here every day getting their workouts in ahead of the games. But when our franchise record 41st game of the year last night, and after the game, which nobody knew this was coming, it was a sold-out crowd. And that's the point. You can get your tickets ahead of the game. Don't wait at the door. You'll be disappointed. Go get them at the Ultimate Fan Zone. Friday, Saturday, games 1 and 2. Weston Walls, our 6'5" record-setting fireballer from Terrell, Texas, and the University of Incarnate Word. Well, now Central Methodist was where he finished his collegiate career. He's starting game 1 Friday. Saturday night, Jacob Glazner from Apache Junction, Arizona, getting the ball. Last night, tied a league record for wins in a season. The guys all went arm in arm, linked arms, made a human chain, and sang Wonderwall to the crowd. Wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody's talking about the Moose Jaw Miller Express. I love it. There's not a whole lot else going on in this country, Canadian Football League. In the States, I just read it all off. You got your PGA, you got your tennis going on somewhere, you got your, obviously, NFL training camps going on. We're big on that. Hey, Carlos, we were giving you shout-outs earlier. Bill in Brantford, the home of Wayne Gretzky, hang on. Oh, man, keep coming with the comments. We have one more segment left, and I don't want to miss anybody. 902-518-3033 or the live streaming chat. We'll get to them all when we come back. It is the Rod Pedersen Show here on Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is time for Overtime Hockey Lanes. If you haven't checked them out, now is the time to go for the first time. They got a lot of great promotions going on down there. You can win a yearly membership right now down there at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. $20 an hour, shoot till your heart's content. Kids, now's the time. You should be working on your shooting, not goofing off. You know what? If it's a rainy, windy day, which it kind of is around here in Western Canada today, great time to go into Overtime Hockey Lanes. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. We will be there Wednesday, August 19th with a live RP show joined by Stanley Cup champion, Flames, and Sabres alum, Colin Patterson. From the audience, Rich tunes in. Where you been all day, Rich? He says that friendly Moose Jaw touch. I'll tell you right now, story time, there is a sign that says the friendly city, Moose Jaw, and it is. I was thinking this the other day. One of the players' dads came in from Campbell River, BC. He went to high school with Rod Brindamore. They're buddies. Hugh Gurney is his name. And he has a dog with him and his wife. And I went up to Hugh and I hugged him. And as we're talking, I'm like, Hugh, I didn't know you were coming. We're having a great chat. We always talk hockey and stuff. This guy comes up to me. He's one of the players' billets. I don't know his name. And he goes, Rod, interrupts our chat, which is fine. He's like, next time I see you running on the highway, I'm going to pick you off. I missed you by 6 inches this morning. Ha, 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 laughing. He's not really going to hit me, I don't think. It's the friendly city. That friendly Moose Jaw touch. It's not just a saying. Hello, Argo Bill. He writes and he says, good morning, crew. From the middle of the lake, great windy day. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the cooler temps. That's why I came here. Virginia Eric writes in, says, small crowd or large crowd, Argos will handle business against Calgary. I just got the game notes in my inbox. I was checking in the break, so I'll be all ready to go Thursday morning to preview that Thursday night football game. Two big games Thursday. Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton. Carson Beck starting the former Miami Hurricanes great. And the CFL Thursday nighter, Calgary and Toronto. The remote control will be getting a workout. Stacy writes in from Access World headquarters, says, no Vladdy today for the Jays. Really, at this point, what is the point? Bill from Brantford, Ontario, the home of Wayne Gretzky. He writes in, he says, I went into a roadhouse outside Brantford. My friend said, there's the little general. He was the Tiger Cats head coach. He stopped and talked for 10 minutes at the bar about that 1966 Grey Cup game. He's talking about the little general, Ron Lancaster, the pride of Fairchance, Pennsylvania. Retired as the CFL's all-time leading passer, the greatest rough rider of them all, Ron Lancaster. I could tell you stories a million about that. Was he having a dart? My guess is he was having a dart. I looked him up here. Not like I didn't know. He died in 2008. At age 69, he seemed older than that. Ronnie Lancaster, the little general, the greatest rough rider of them all. Brent from the Bridge City. So I'm waiting to see my doctor. When I get the call, that'll be it. So thanks for another great show, Rod. Have a great day. Oh, by the way, speaking of great shows, tomorrow, Kevin the Medium will be with us, the fortune teller, in hour 1. For a fortune teller, he's pretty crappy at picking sports results, I'll tell you that. Except for his BC Lions. He picked that they would win last week, but he always picks them to win. But also the Spanish voice of the New York Yankees and Philadelphia Eagles, Ricky Ricardo, is going to be with us through a partnership with DraftKings. The viewers loved Ricky. He's only been on once, but you all remember when that was. We were talking about the World Cup of Baseball. And I said, wow, I live 40 miles north of Miami. I was in the area when it was going on. He goes, I live 40 miles north of Miami. Where do you live? I'm like, yeah. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Ricky Ricardo. Just a big, big, big voice. I'll tell you what, when I hear Ricky Ricardo, because he also does sports talk on WFAN New York, WIP Philadelphia, I just envision that voice coming out of the windows of those Manhattan high-rises, the homes, like just, oh, God. Ricky Ricardo's special. Oh, Virginia Eric says, is Brock Lesnar going to try out for the Minnesota Vikings again now that he's retired? Oh, man, that's the story that I can't tell. I wish I could. I can't, just because of the language is so vile. But that night when I did this is the thing, I did the banquet with Brock Lesnar. Thank you for reminding me. Retiring at age 49, I was on stage with him, and I said, okay, you were born in Weber, South Dakota, and tonight you're in Assiniboia, Saskatchewan. What happened in between? He went and talked for 45 minutes straight. I didn't have to ask a question. Just went. Very professional speaker. And he talked about that. He had already been in the WWF for 6 years before he went to training camp with the Minnesota Vikings as a D lineman. And so I can't remember who the GM was. Was it Spielman for the Viking? Whoever it was. He had a groin injury in training camp, Lesnar. So he says, we're going to send you NFL Europe and rehab, and you'll get you playing over there, and we'll come back, and you'll be playing with the Vikings. And Lesnar's like, Europe? No. And he goes, what do you mean, no? And he goes, I've been to Europe. I'll clean it up for you. Warm beer and cold women. No thanks. He got up and walked out of the Vikings GM's office. That was the end of his NFL career. It wasn't quite that, but you get the idea. BW writes in, he says, great show, Rod. Maybe buy an airbag off Amazon. You mean an air tag? I got the keys. I got them. It's all on me. That's how we started this show. Thanks for tuning in for the whole entirety of the program. I thought I lost my keys, but I found them. I was just having, is this what senior moments are like? Because I'm not even a senior yet. I have air tags in all of my bags. That's the thing. My suitcase, my backpack. Put on my keys. I'll be putting it on me soon is kind of where we're going with this. Okay. See you tomorrow with Kevin the Medium and Ricky Ricardo. Thanks to John Bender and you. Be good, everybody.
That.